Good morning, and
Hold on, just somebody out there.
Whoopsie daisies.
Just,
technical.
I'm gonna have to mute for a second. Did one of
We
you get
good?
your sound on? Okay.
Yeah, I think we're good. Good
Go ahead,
morning,
try
and I'd like to call this meeting of the Senate County Commissioners on Thursday, January 27th, 2022 to order. And we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Commissioner Schuff.
Yes, thank you. Please bow your heads. Dear Lord, please help guide us here as we go to discuss property, finances, personnel, and issues facing our county and our residents here in Seneca County. Please help us to do your will, give us your guidance, and to help us make the best decisions that we can here to benefit our citizens, help us to work together here for positive solutions, and please watch over us as we move forward. Amen.
Okay, roll call. Thank you.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Here.
Commissioner Schuff,
Here.
And Commissioner Kirschner is online, right?
I am online.
Okay, welcome.
Morning, Mike.
Good morning.
Morning.
So I will accept a motion to approve the digital audio video recording of the previous board session from Thursday, January 20th, 2022.
So moved.
And I'll second that. Roll call?
Commissioner Schuff,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso.
Yes. Is it roll call or is it vote? Either one.
Yeah.
Hey, that's my question of the day, Mr. President. Good. Okay, so first item of business, we'll have Ken Majors give us the EMS annual report update, and welcome.
Thanks.
A lot of discussion going on with EMS in our county.
Absolutely. And I apologize for having to have a drink
Nice
up
to
there,
have
but
you.
all the meds I'm taking for my sinuses dry me out. So,
It's
and Ben knows that I
Part of
don't
the
usually
year.
have trouble talking. So,
Nor do I.
right. That was, yeah, right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna throw up the annual report that I send to you guys. We'll put it up on the screen for everybody to see. I'll run through some numbers and answer some questions for you.
will this be public? Is it
Yeah,
public?
it's public record once we review it.
Once you
Then I'll throw it up on the website.
got it.
Because we've got everyone all the way back to 2008 available for review. And the interesting part about the reports is it shows the data over the years, and that really helps us plan for the future. Because as everybody knows, and you've read in the papers and heard on national news, EMS isn't getting less busy. It's not. Every year the runs increase. So this year, 1,502 runs. That's countywide. Some of those are mutual aid runs, but most of those are ours. And as you can see, 700 of them were Bascom. So Bascom runs about 46% of our runs, and they do that running all over the northwestern part of the county. So most of the time they've had to cover the Bettsville area. As you can see, Bettsville doesn't have as many. They haven't had a lot of in-service time, which we're working on now with paid employees, and the same thing goes for Attica. So we're putting paid employees on the east and the west side of the county, so that'll help even out those runs a little more. So we'll scroll down a little. The Echo Paramedic is still an integral part of our organization. The Echo elevates our standard of care on every run to include a paramedic if we need one. And it's not every run, but it's about 60 to 70% of the runs are ALS. And we just show that in the financial report that shows, that's where I get that number, because that's the number of billed runs, and we do either ALS 1, 2, or BLS. With about 45% of our runs being BLS, the rest of them are ALS. Those are the breakdowns in the hospitals that we transport to. Primarily, Mercy Tiffin Hospital is our number one receiving hospital, but we go all around. This year, 2021, we went to Galleon, and that was an emergent cath lab run. A patient was having an active heart attack, and they were over in the east side of the county. And after some discussion with medical control, they took him straight to cath lab, and that was a good outcome. So having ALS providers available make it quicker. We had that gentleman's heart open back up within 60 minutes of the initial pain. And we're in the 90-minute window, and that was really good, and that was a successful time. We do the same thing with Blanchard Valley, and that's why Blanchard Valley is one of our, we don't transport there much, but when we do, it's usually for specialty care. And then we go to all those other hospitals as patients desire, or if we're closer to that facility, or if there's people on bypass. As you've heard in the media, a lot of hospitals, especially smaller hospitals, have been overwhelmed and they've been on bypass or diversion. There's a couple of different meanings for that. And really what it means is they're just too full, they can't take any more patients. So they just call out and tell us, please don't come here. Now, if you're right across the street, they'll still get you in. But sometimes we have to drive a little ways to get a patient to the care they need. And then we've used helicopter 14 times in 21. I say helicopter EMS because it's not all life flight. We also use ProMedica Air, we use Cleveland Metro, we've used MedFlight. Whoever can get here, we use them. There's a breakdown by outcomes. One thing that's kind of a bigger number this year than it was in years past is the DOAs at 23. The DOA speaks for itself, it's a dead on arrival, but this year that's about double what we normally see. So that's quite a bit. And the reason why there's 14 life flights instead of 13, because we only transported, I think it was 13, or maybe it was 14. But every now and then a life flight will come and not transport anybody, because the situation either changes and they don't need to, or sometimes there's a bad outcome in a motor vehicle crash and they don't need to for that reason. Those are all the townships and everything we went to, and it basically states that the data doesn't add up there to 1,502 runs, because a lot of these wrecks we go on, a lot of the things we go on are multiple patients. So it may show 1,480 responses, but 1,502 responses, 1,480 places. But it's just more patients per run.
So, I can't tell which run an echo went on other than the total runs.
Well, if we can scroll back up to the top
Yeah.
a little bit. And you can see there, the echo went on, of 1,502 runs, they responded to 1,047 of them.
Yes.
They arrived on scene to 761, and they transported 280 times with the crews. And most of those two,
Awesome.
yeah,
Just can't, I don't know if what township or whatever.
right.
That total.
I
Yeah,
could
no,
pull that.
that's
I
good
could get that
data.
data for you. I do have a spreadsheet with just that data. I try not to make this.
We don't need it here.
Yeah,
But
my old reports, and Ben can tell you, they used to be 8 pages long. Stacy asked me to make them like 2.5, 3. So I find EMS and data of EMS extremely interesting, but not everybody does.
and for, you know me, I'm asking a lot of questions
Yeah.
because find it interesting.
Well,
and
and I think
don't
it's
know, so-
important. That's part of one of our missions, is to
Good.
make sure our elected officials stay apprised of what it is, what EMS is, how it works, what's the future.
So that's
and-
pretty impressive. So I could be dispatched in Echo, and then
Yeah.
I could turn around and go back. Is that what the difference is? Okay.
And then also, the Echo is part of our training. We use them to train quite a bit. Now that we've got some full-time crews on, we have a captive audience, if you will. So we send our Echo out every day to do an hour of training with the crew.
I see.
And that's something I borrowed from my years in the fire service. Is if you're not training, you should be working. If you're not working, you should be sleeping or eating and getting ready to go to work. So we're going to make them busy, but it also keeps our Echo sharp, and then it also keeps everybody working together as a crew and a team. If you do that in a training environment, it makes it a lot easier to do it in the real world. So
Okay.
that's why we do that.
Thanks.
You bet. And yeah, maintenance of vehicles. We did lose a vehicle this year. It's the first time in a long time we actually blew a motor. Those 6-liter Fords have always had some issues, especially with the intake manifold and the fuel rail, they tell me. It overpressurizes and goes bang, especially very sensitive to oil levels, and you have to maintain those things very well. Well, 202 is a 17-year-old unit, right? 2005? It puked. So that's the end of that. And Bascom has had an interest in receiving it from the county and trying to fix it. And I have no doubt they're gonna drop a new motor in it, but a new motor from Ford was 20 grand. Vehicle's not worth that much, so we moved it over to Bascom so they can do what they will with it. We do have 2 new units on their way. One should be here by either the middle of February to the end of February. That'll be a 2022 F450 on wheel coach. We're going with the F-Series trucks now because they're easier to work on, and we can also get them in 4-wheel drive. Because we learned from hard experience that in the snow, using the on-spot chains or having to put chains on an ambulance sometimes is a challenge, and it ain't no fun. So with the upgrade of these vehicles, we can get 4-wheel drive chassis, and that's what we're going to do from here out.
Nice.
And we also have a new Echo unit ordered, but with the supply chain issues and all the things that are happening, vehicles, chips, microchips, and God only knows, it's been delayed, but it will be a 2022 when we get it. It should be by the end of this year. I
Is
hope.
there a second EMS vehicle? Not an
Yes.
Echo? So
Yeah, there's
3
two
vehicles?
ambulances and an Echo,
And
yeah.
an Echo, right,
That's correct.
okay, yeah.
And we also have one ordered for our EMA, so we can pull a trailer, because we did
That's
get
been a
a trailer.
while, we approved
Yeah,
that.
we're still waiting on it.
We're still,
And
okay.
we have a guy on
Really?
the
I mean, that
inside of the
seems like
dealership who
forever.
keeps doing the check on the computer, and it'll show when it ships, and it's not showed it yet, so.
Okay, so we have 4,
Yeah.
4 in process still.
Yeah, they're all
under
coming.
your department.
And as soon as they get here, I'll be down here to show them to you, because we
Okay.
always try to get a photo up when we get new stuff. It was a very busy year. 1,500 runs is a bunch for us. We normally average between 1,200, 1,400. So 1,500 was a bunch. One of the things we have determined this year through all the meetings we've been meeting for a year, we're moving forward with a 4-squad model of full-time EMS. Doesn't mean we're getting rid of volunteers. We're going to keep the volunteers as long as they want to be here, and we're going to do that soon. We're pushing. This is an exciting time to be here because we've got, right now we have to take advantage of the situation we have with ARP money and CARES funding. We have to take advantage of that. To me, the COVID is EMS 9/11. So we had 9/11, the fire departments and police officers were showered with grant money because they knew we needed to do something to rebuild. COVID is showing the weakness in our EMS and our transport system. We need to take advantage of that right now and move forward, and that's what we're doing. And that takes leadership, and I appreciate you guys sticking through this with me. We still have an issue in some areas of the county. We don't have a lot of squads in service, so with full-time people, we've been able to maintain the need, and these are the numbers that show us what our responses are. Average response time for 2021 for everyone was 11 minutes and 45 seconds. I did break out the full-time staffed ambulances showing that that's less than 10 minutes, 8.9 minutes. Average time it takes a firefighter first responder or an EMS first responder to arrive on scene is 7.7 from dispatch. And our shoot times are less than 5 minutes, which is a goal I've set 10 years ago, and we finally made it, 4.6 minutes, with the full-time crews being out the door in less than 2. So at night, when we have full-time 24-hour crews, that'll change, be a little longer, probably 3 minutes or so, 3-4 minutes, but it won't be long, because it'll be at the station, right? It won't be any more than 4 minutes. So the joint districts are working together. We're gonna try to find funding to do all the stuff I just said. And it's gonna require a levy, and it's also gonna require quite a bit of collaborative work. And I think we're at a point now where we're seeing a lot of collaboration, and people are very positive about moving forward with this. And my point has always been, and every one of you have heard me say, everybody says, Ken, you sound like a broken record. You keep saying the same thing. Well, we still haven't done it yet, so that's why I keep saying it. But what's important is that we can all work together, make this work, and put these ambulances in geographic locations that are outside of where everybody is used to being. So we're gonna have a station in the northwest, northeast, southwest, and southeast. We're gonna cover the 4 corners, and the city covers the center. We're basically a concentric circle at that point, and we can all be together, because we all use each other, mutual aid and everything. But as long as we can get there in 10 minutes or less, that's the plan. And hiring right now is difficult. I don't know if you've been looking around, but some of the hospitals and EMS organizations are having to pay bonus cash. Sometimes double bonus. I know paramedics right now down around Columbus and Marion are making $45 an hour. That's unheard of, which means there's not enough of them. So we're gonna try and grow some of our own right here. And we have a benefit there. We have a community college, we have within driving distance, we have JVS within driving distance. We're gonna hire people as EMT basics, we're gonna move them all the way up, we're gonna train them, we're gonna teach them, we're gonna educate them. And yep, sure enough, some of them are gonna walk away and go into the fire service, and we expect it. But as long as we get enough coming in to meet the needs of what's going out, we're gonna be okay. Total, when this is all said and done, we're gonna have 24, 28 full-time employees. And then, who knows how many part-time. We'll need part-time to cover things like vacations, sick. Right now, you come up hot on a COVID test, you're off work for a while, or somebody gets injured. In this game, people do get injured, and backs, knees, elbows, shoulders. It's pretty physical labor, but we have the best equipment, we have some of the best training, we have some of the best people. I can't say enough about the volunteers getting us here, and we're not gonna do anything to hurt that relationship, but we are moving forward, and I think everybody will see the positive side of that once we do. So if you want, we can go into the financials just briefly. It's a little harder to see, sorry. This shows our amount of transports for the month of December with the trailing 12 months below that. So basically shows that these are the billable transports. So for the entire year, 2021, Attica had 10 billable transports. Bascom had 443, Bettsville 46. Bloomville, Republic, and Attica together is about the same as Bascom, because that is a joint ambulance district. But you can see those numbers, and you see where we get our money. Our revenue this year was $384,000, $345,861, which is about $40,000, $50,000 more than I projected.
So what is that per run?
About $348.
So it's up a couple.
So it's up.
Okay.
Our average in the trailing 5-6 years has been $330 a run. And if we go slide down this page, it'll show us some things about our payer mix. What that means is there's our projected net revenues. And if you look further down the list, one more maybe slide. Being a PDF, it's kind of a pain.
Yeah.
It shows us what our payer mix is. If you look closely, you can see that Medicare is our highest payer. It used to not be. It used to be
62%?
It
Am I
is.
reading that right?
Yes.
Yeah, well, it used to be like half.
It was a little less than half. It was in the
Yeah.
40% and we have more commercial insurance and commercial payers, but we don't anymore. So a lot of ours are Medicare, Medicaid. Medicaid doesn't pay very well. Medicare pays at about 30 cents on the dollar. But we've been, with the efficiencies that we have in the electronic charting and a billing company that is very good at what they do, we're averaging about 43 cents on the dollar. So with the industry average is 30 to 33. We're getting about 10% more than that, or 10 cents more than that. People do here like pay their bills. It's amazing. Some of the folks that we transport, we get the bill out to them within 2 weeks. Sometimes it's that same day the bill hits the street, depending on how well the documentation gets done, how quickly. So our daily sales, basically the big ticket, they want to know if you get a bill within 30 days. Because if it's a net 30 account, you want to have the bill out there. And then if they pay within 45, we don't have a lot of aged reports. So there's a report on here that shows you how long it takes for us to get paid. Our average is about 40 days to get complete pay. And that's not bad. And that performance is gained by having a competent professional billing service. And I won't lie to you, I stole them fair and square when I worked at Lifelight. These guys were a good group, so I hired them up here as soon as I got here.
Our billing.
And, yeah, and they work at less of a percentage than any other around here. It was 3%, and it's gradually going up to about 4.5% to 5% of total collected revenue. Most in the industry are 7 to 10, so we're doing good. And those are our grand totals of average monthly runs and pay-ins, and also ALS, BLS breakdown. So it's about 60% ALS. And payer mix by standard of care. ALS is Medicare. Like I said, our total's 300 and, grand total. There's our grand total. We had to pay some back. The reason why we have overpayments, I'll answer that, because usually after people read this a little bit, they start thinking, why the heck did we have an overpayment? What I meant by that was people do pay their bills. So our billing company will get a bill, they'll send it to Medicare, and they'll send you an EOB that says, Medicare is going to pay this much, you may owe this much. But they don't really owe that because there's no balance billing for Medicare, but the lady will pay it. They'll call on our number and they'll pay it on a credit card, or they'll pay it with a check. All of a sudden we got an $800 check. We're like, wait, you didn't need to pay us. But they're in a hurry to pay it because they want to pay it. And then we
People
end
like
up
that.
processing that, and it goes right back to the patient.
And you turn it back out.
Yeah. And sometimes we get extra payments which aren't even meant for us. We get payments that are meant for the health department. They just get misrouted. So any of those you see are the paybacks. And this year that's been, there's so much stuff going on in the world with medical and healthcare. A lot of this stuff got,
confusing.
the
Billing is
government,
confusing.
yeah, bureaucracy is definitely a confusing thing. And this is their daily sales outstanding. So basically it just shows you how long it takes for us to get full payment. DSO is a common bank term. I know Mike understands it. It shows you how long it takes you to get paid from the time that your services were rendered. And ours is about an average of 45 days. There are some that are outliers that takes a year, and those are the ones that people go to court with. They don't want to pay their bill. They got a lawyer trying to figure out how to pay the bill. They don't think they should pay the bill. It takes a year and a half, and we finally get paid. We also use the Attorney General's office for collections, so they're really good at what they do. They can garnish wages. They can take it from your tax returns. We try not to get to the collection if we can help it. And our billing company works with us, and we have 800 numbers. We set up payment plans. We do all kinds of stuff to help people avoid collections. And Danny's very good at connecting with these folks.
Good.
That just shows where our runs are by zip code, and also if we had any outside of our county, and we have. We go up into Sandusky County, we go to Wyandotte County. We went to Erie County, took a patient there, but we hadn't, we don't respond up there. But you gotta remember, Erie County comes right over where Bellevue
Yeah,
is.
we're
So sometimes we do
contiguous.
go up into that corner.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much our net aged reporting for the past 13 months. So it shows what our outstanding balances are. So if we bill out a total of $140,000, and currently we've collected 28.7% of it, we still are going to receive more. Sometimes we get payments months in advance, so we don't know, but we keep a collection of what we bill versus what we're owed. And then there's a write-off, contractual write-off with some of the commercial insurers and also with Medicare, Medicaid. Medicare, Medicaid are pretty impressive with their write-offs because you can bill them $1,000, they pay you $300 and say, well, you're going to write the rest off. And they make the rules. So you
Pretty
don't get-
direct.
you don't
So
get
when
to
you
go-
say 43 cents on the dollar,
Yes,
is
sir.
that what we bill, or is that what we? how do you
That's
get-
what we collect.
Yeah.
So if we bill you $1,000, we get
collect-
$430.
Yeah, so if you say that's 28%, we can assume that'll creep to about 43%.
That's right.
When it's all said.
That's correct.
Okay.
And that just shows who pays us from where it comes from. So this is a brief report. We also have the ones that I sent to Stacy that are the actual spreadsheets. So you can get in there and play with them and put them in tables and do all kinds of fancy stuff with them if you want to. This is just a PDF of that's not manipulatable. So the numbers are all here. That's a good summary of it. And the spreadsheets are available, and we also get those to the auditor if there's any questions. During our audit that we do every year, we go through a call from beginning to end to determine that we are billing appropriately, and that's part of what our billing company requires plus what the state auditor requires. There's always some little thing that they find, and it's usually to do with our refunds, because like if somebody says, well, here's $40, but it actually is supposed to go to the health department, the government and our accounting system sometimes takes a long time for that to turn around and figure out whose it is, who's got to pay it back, then get it paid back. It takes longer than the auditor likes. So they throw a little remark in there saying, speed up your process on that. It's not something I can do, it's just something we get told to do. But we have streamlined processes so well since the early days here. It's pretty impressive how quickly we can get things turned around as far as bills and get paid. We do online payments now, we're doing call payments, you can come to the office, scan your credit card, you can do all those things. We've taken EMS forward as far as we can in the office management process. Now we need to get our crews on the streets so we can really start taking care of people, which is our goal. Because the number one person in this equation is the patient. And all this stuff happens in the back. All they want to know is if we get there quick enough to help them and have a good positive outcome. That's what we're trying to do.
Every minute makes a difference.
Indeed. What questions do you guys have for me?
So I'll ask Commissioner Kirschner to comment first. Any questions, Commissioner? Comments?
I don't, it's just a lot to absorb, and I've seen the reports and congratulate them on a good job.
Thank you very much, Mike. We're working hard. We appreciate the meetings. We're still meeting every month or every other month this time. I guess we skipped one, but to discuss with the local leadership about how we're moving forward, committing to one joint ambulance district and getting a countywide levy passed so we can fund this project. And I appreciate your leadership on that, Mike, Tony, and Tyler, and Stacy.
Comments?
And just thank you for the report. I'm encouraged. This being the start of my second year, when I started my first week, we've been having these EMS meetings every single month. It's good to get people together, and I know sometimes it seems like we're not always moving forward, but just the tone of the last meeting, the willingness of the people to come together and help their constituents. I think we've got the right people in the room to move forward, and I'm glad we have team players. So thanks for all you do.
Thank you.
Good.
I think things are moving good, positively.
So I always make the statement, it's not the location of the EMS squad in the county, it's how fast they get there. And to cover the county effectively, to make it the most affordable as we possibly can, we need to have 4 strategically placed EMS squads, buildings, facilities. And they're going to be out in the middle of nowhere. They're not going to be in villages and most probably fire departments and township halls. They're going to be strategically placed throughout the county so that when the call comes, they can get anywhere in 10 minutes. So that's a good point, and we're going to continue to say that as we move forward, because that's the only way affordably we can cover the whole county at the level.
Right.
you
And the
we
level
all
is
wanna
important,
cover,
and
that we want to maintain.
bringing ALS to the scene is probably one of the most important things we do, especially in today's world where the hospitals are overwhelmed. The more that we can do for you in your living room and in the ambulance, the better off you're going to be, the better outcome you're going to have. The training nowadays with paramedics and with some of our crews are nurses as well, we can do a lot more than the average ambulance crew. And with the 20 to 30 minutes, sometimes transport times, we're required to. And it's interesting to me to see how well we are doing compared to when I started in this business. The things we do now, technology-wise, are truly amazing.
Well, and you've commented, and I think we're looking forward, and the delivery of healthcare is all going to change.
Agreed.
And you're going to have healthcare at your kitchen table or in your house with
Telemedicine.
telemedicine, and I see Ben over there, your former firefighter, paramedic. Yeah, and you know, so we're thinking all that as we build this out.
It's amazing.
Jimmy, you had a comment.
Yeah, I just, you say ALS, and some people might not know what
That's
that is.
true.
Can you explain the differences
Yes.
and what that means?
It's a good point. Advanced life support is paramedics. You don't have to have 3 paramedics, but if you have 1 or 2 advanced level personnel that can start IVs, give medications, do things to stabilize you for the longer trip to get you to a cath lab, or to treat your disease process right there where you are. So if the hospital is overwhelmed and they don't have a bed, we have a bed in our ambulance. We can go to the hospital and wait until they tell us to come in. It's happening now more than ever. There's patients that have sat in hallway beds for hours and hours, sometimes days, waiting to be admitted to a hospital. So the more we can do for you right away, the better your symptomology is going to be, and you are going to not need as much critical care as in the end. Your length of stays are down, your outcomes are better, and it actually will help save cost if we can do more telemedicine and things like that and treat you right where you are. You don't have to go get the big bill at the hospital. If we can treat you and take you to the place you need to go, it may not be a hospital, it might be an urgent care or another type facility. And you may not even need to see a doctor. You may need to see a nurse practitioner or a PA. All that's cost savings in the healthcare industry. We need to do that. But advanced life support right where you are is better for you than what we used to do, which is come out, throw you in the back, and drive as fast as we could to the closest hospital. If that's all you have, that's okay, but it's still not the best. The best is, and has been for decades, the advanced life support model of EMS. We're fortunate, we have a 3-tier model, most places have 2. 3-tier means we have first responders, EMT, or first responder firefighters who get there quick. Then we have a BLS transport truck en route and an ALS unit coming, 1, 2, 3. And once that BLS gets there and says, no, it's just a fractured toe, we don't really need you, medic goes around, goes back in service and keeps the level of the care in the county to that high level. But if it is something, a heart attack, sepsis, stroke, something that's higher, needs higher level of care, the medic can get there. And he can turn it up and go faster if he needs to. And once you clear the 4 walls of the city of Tiffin, you can travel pretty quickly across this county. Just got to get out of the, the hustle and the bustle of a lot of traffic. And nowadays with our electronic mapping and all the things and 911's all together, it's kind of interesting to see. I think it's an interesting and a great time to be in EMS and fire right now. There's just a lot of things happening.
More to come on this topic, so we'll end it there. And if you're like me and you're curious and you want to learn more all the time, you're invited to our meetings first Thursday of the month, and these meetings will be bringing up various discussions about EMS. And Jimmy, there'll be more and more public announcements regarding countywide EMS, and just encourage the citizens to educate yourself. Learn about the system and kind of what our vision is. It's all positive. So,
We
Ken,
do, just
question?
for your
Yeah.
information, there is a community meeting scheduled the 3rd Wednesday of next month with Ken to explain the whole concept that he's presented today. So
Nice.
it'll be at the library, so that's a chance for people to attend.
Jimmy, get that out.
Absolutely.
That's with the League of Women Voters.
Yes.
And now I can talk about EMS forever. I can stand up here and bore you to figures. So don't give me too much of a platform or I'll just keep talking. So I appreciate your time.
Do you have a timetable for all of this in
Yes,
your
ma'am.
mind?
Yes, ma'am. Well, I hope to have 2 full-time crews, 1 east, 1 west by the end of this year, 2022.
I meant like the levy. I mean, is there a
Can I make that
project-
public comment?
Okay,
I'd like to answer that
These
question.
guys do the levy stuff. I just-
Well, we're working
operations.
together, so
Yeah.
it's a great question, and the question is, do we have a timeline for the public? Bill has something back there. I think we have, there are 2 tracks that are occurring at the same time, okay? So I'll speak for Ken and the county commissioners. So what Ken is doing right now out in all the EMS districts is working real hard with their boards and coordinators to upgrade their facilities so we can help support them right now. And that includes hiring people and having a place for them 24 hours to stay. So we need bedrooms, bathrooms, showers, which we don't have. So you're working on that right now. He's also at the table representing the county with this vision of taking this out in a countywide system. At the same time, there is another track of 16 of Seneca County's legal entities. There are 10 townships and 6 villages that are over here trying to get unified. Jimmy, did we announce the name yet?
Yeah, well, that happened in the meeting.
can I say that?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So the group of 16 will be forming a legal entity, and the name of that entity will be Seneca County Joint EMS District. It'll be the Seneca County Joint EMS District. Did I say that right?
Senate County Joint Ambulance District.
Ambulance District. That's why I asked everybody. Thank you, correction, okay? So they're there, and they're getting organized, and for your timeline, we hope that by the June meeting, that group has worked things out with the county governance and kind of what we're gonna do, what they're gonna do. And then that group will recommend a levy. They're gonna determine what that levy needs to be, the amount, and we will go to the voters in November. You know, they will go to the voters
Of this fall.
this fall, yes. So, we're doing our part, they're absolutely doing their part. A lot of things need to happen in the next 120 days, but I feel real strong that we have great communication, and we've got the prosecutor involved. Julie, the auditor, will be involved as we try to really vet this thing out and put a plan out there that everybody feels good about. And that final announcement, I think, will occur the first week in June. That's our tentative goal. Anybody want to add to that? Commissioner Kirschner, Shuff, did I say that okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think you did a good job explaining it, Tony. I just want to make sure that it's very clear. The commissioners are not proposing a levy. It will be the joint ambulance district's decision as to when, how much, and where the levy is put on the ballot. We are in support of whatever it is they decide, but we are not the group initiating any levy proceedings.
And so all 16 of these entities are part of a various EMS system, and they all have EMS levy tax in place, but they're running independently. And what we're trying to do is just support all of them getting together, and then instead of us trying to work with 3 entities, plus, if you count Adams, Pleasant, and Greensburg, 6 different entities going forward, it would just be one entity. And so I think that just makes a lot of sense for efficiencies and resources, and so it's good. Jimmy?
One important note about the levy is that joint ambulance, it won't impact like the city of Tiff and the city of Fostoria. It will impact the entities that join that one joint ambulance district.
That's correct.
So those people will be voting for it, and it would impact just them, no one outside of those areas.
Right, and so Tiffin, Fostoria, Bascom, Eden Township, they're excluded. Thompson, Clinton. So it's 10 of the 15 townships and all 6 villages at this point are moving forward. So, yeah, the tone, I like the tone that the meetings are having,
Yeah.
and the fact that everybody understands the urgency. So, thank you. Anything else? Jimmy, are we good?
And so, I mean, the Commissioner's Office has invested a lot of time and a lot of effort into this. It's very important to us, and I think as elected officials, public servants, I mean, top priority for us is public safety, safety services. We're trying to get ahead of things, so I mean, every minute counts. I mean, it's been one of our top tier priorities, and we're very serious about this, and hope the voters and the constituents understand that, and it's something we got to remedy. We don't want to keep kicking the can down the road.
Good. Thanks, Ken.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you. Julie, I'd like to call on you, if that's okay. So you have a report about our capital assets. You'd like to make a few comments?
Sure.
Okay, thanks. We have Julie.
Can you hear me okay, Commissioner?
We have Julie Atkins, our auditor, on the line. Sure, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So, in looking over our capital asset policy, the last one that was adopted by the county was done in 2008. So, it is fairly old and stale. But the main trigger as to why it needed to be reviewed, and I have before you a possible, for your consideration, adoption of a new policy, is that it has been commented in our audit that, well, primarily, we're such a conservative county that we use our assets until they're no longer able to be used. So one of the issues was our depreciation table needed to be extended because of a lot of the buildings that are still in use, as well as vehicles and other equipment that the county has in their possession. So this is a more of a robust document that explains a lot of the characteristics of capital assets, outlines the process, more shows how it appears on our financials, and also extends our depreciation of the assets quite a bit longer.
Okay, and then I believe you sent that today?
She sent me the final this morning.
Set the final, and so I'd like to propose, Julie, that we look it over and then we'll take action next Thursday on this.
Perfect.
Okay,
Perfect. I just wanted to get it before the board for your consideration.
Yeah, Commissioner Kirschner, does that sound reasonable to you?
It does.
Okay, good. So, we'll elevate that and put that on the agenda next week. Thank you. So moving on, County Administrator's Report.
I have nothing today. What's your
Commissioner's
today?
Report. We'll yield to Commissioner Kirschner down there. Do you have an informal report you would like to make on over the air?
Sure. Yesterday, along with the mayor who was on this line, we attended the TSEP Executive Committee. It's good to report that Tippecanoe Economic Partnership continues to be very busy. We discussed a bit the turnover of staff and getting everybody up to speed on what's happening. There's probably somebody at this meeting today to give you more of an update. The mayor was very positive in the state of the city and talked about revenues being higher than ever before. I'm not going to speak for him, but I know that he's very got a rosy look at the future. We, as you all know, continue to have revenues that are, in the sales tax area at least, that are above and beyond expectations, which is a good thing. And it's also good to know that there are multiple projects continuing based on Amy's conversation downtown. There are multiple projects in the pipeline when it comes to retail and commercial. And we continue to think that we're moving forward. We discussed, as everyone knows, and we talked about it briefly here today, that unemployment is 3.3%, I think, which is the lowest record that anyone knows of. But along with that comes the burden for manufacturers and retail people and service companies and municipalities, firemen, EMTs, et cetera, to hire people. So it's a good thing, and it also becomes an opportunity for a lot of people out there to start great careers. So the summary is that things are looking pretty well all across Seneca County, and we want to continue to spread that message out there.
Thank you. Thanks, Commissioner Shuff.
Quick question for Mike before I go into my report. In your bringing up some of the turnover issues at TSEP, was it discussed about having exit interviews or anything like that to see why the turnover rate or what we could be doing better? Do we conduct those, or is there any motion made to explore that?
There was no discussion that I'm aware of, and I'm not sure how the human resource function works for TSEP. I know at one point somebody from Tippy University, I think, was having those conversations, but it certainly is a good suggestion, Tyler, and I would support it because we do need to know reasons why. I mean, the conversation basically was that we hire some pretty good young people and they're upwardly mobile, and I think the statement was made there, correct me if I'm wrong, but the average length of stay is about 3 years for most of these folks. They're on their way through these economic development companies. Yeah, I think that there should be, so we know if there's a common denominator. But I think there's some mitigation as to why people are leaving.
Thank you.
go ahead with your report, please.
Thank you, President Paradiso. It's been a very busy week. This morning, we had the Destination Seneca County meeting over at the TSEP and Chamber Building. Bryce gave a very good report as far as that's concerned. Bed tax numbers are up, so exciting to see that people seem to be going out and getting back to some little bit of normalcy here. So we also had a land bank meeting this week. Moving forward with that, we're getting properties identified, blight, in different communities here throughout Seneca County, trying to get some of these buildings raised, getting back on the tax rolls, and just want to thank Renee for her leadership in that and what she's done. The meeting went very smoothly, so thank you to all who participated in that meeting. Congressman Ladd is going to be in town today, so looking forward to meeting with him and some of the other officials here in Seneca County. So are we 100% certain we're having him as our new congressman, or is the line
I
still?
don't know that, yeah.
So
Are we 100, we're not 100%, but we're 99%.
either way, we'll make it a productive meeting. So want to congratulate Councilman Steve Leopard on his appointment last night at the Republican Central Committee. Worked with Steve on council. He went from an at-large councilman, he's back to First Ward again, so congratulations, Steve. Also, Commissioner Paradiso and I, we went and took a tour of the new tip and paper company. It is housed now, or they're growing their operations to the old General Electric building, so we got an inside tour of that. I'd like to congratulate the Mayberger family. It was amazing what they've done with that space. Growing up, my dad started out there before he became an entrepreneur. My grandparents worked there. Just seeing the renovations that they've done, the investment here in the local community, the added jobs, it's phenomenal what they've done with that space, and just to see these businesses grow. So congratulations to the Mayberger family and TPC and all those individuals. We have a meeting tonight for the Mental Health and Recovery Services Board. That's at 4:30, so looking forward to that and hearing an update from Mirchaw. And then last but not least, just wanted to thank and congratulate Carrie Duncan. She came to us here less than a year ago, but she's the individual that is overseeing It's a Splash of Love from home. So what she did is approached us about space needs, and what she does is send care packages overseas to our veterans. I want to say here from the numbers I'm looking at, she sent over 200 packages since the group's inception in 2019. Just want to thank her for her hard work, and I know she had some space needs. Those have locally been met by the United Methodist Church out in Bascom, so just wanted to thank her for her hard work. Thank you to the Methodist Church for stepping up and helping them meet their space needs, but just everything that they're doing for our veterans, just wanted to give kudos to her and keep up the good work.
Yeah, and that's an old number too. I gave you the 200. It's probably hundreds more than that now. So they do great work for the troops overseas.
Thank you, thank you. And I think that's about all I have for now.
Okay, just a few things. The land bank, at the land bank meeting, Seneca County, it appears that we will have an additional $1.5 million of funds that will be coming into the county this year to help remove blight. So $1 million of that is for commercial, industrial buildings, and $500,000 of that is for residential. And it's nice to see Village of Green Springs submitted a couple properties. There was a representative from Bloomville here. Of course, the two mayors, Mayor Mons and Mayor Keckler, are very, very involved with their cities, and it's just a great program. So we're looking forward to this year being maybe a record year as far as dollars being spent on these properties. And then I just want to make a final comment on labor. Commissioner Kirschner mentioned an unemployment rate of under 4%, and Ken, you mentioned kind of grooming our own paramedics. At the FEDC meeting that I attended, Commissioner Schuff was there. It was my last meeting. This will be his assignment going forward. They reported that the Learning Center has a 100% job placement with all their graduates. And they had a welding class that graduated 7. They all found jobs in the Fostoria area, by the way. And then they had another class of, it was an industrial, it was a trades class of another 6 or 8, and they all had found jobs. So they are continuing to work hard at developing these adult programs to retool our workforce. And it's a great opportunity for anyone that wants to go into a trade or retool. It's all paid for, and you have a job coming out. And so what Ken was talking about and speaking with Sentinel Vanguard, Vanguard Sentinel, they will be offering, they have various programs out there now, but they're going to be offering a medical emergency, an EMT type certificate at the high school level. So we look forward to getting into the details of that program with our HR, Ken, Greg out there at Sentinel and their people. And my understanding is that will start next fall. They're ready to get that going. So it could be pretty exciting to have students from Seneca County working in this program, riding with maybe paramedics, getting their EMT, then their EMT2, and working their way up with various certificates. So that's pretty exciting. And there'll be more to come. Jimmy, I believe they're going to be on the agenda in March at our EMS meeting, which will be that first Thursday. Vanguard Sentinel will be coming in to make to expand more on what I'm talking about. So,
Tony, quick question on
Yeah.
that. Do you know, are they looking at both Sentinel and Vanguard for the class, or is it gonna be both of them?
you know, I don't know that.
I think
Yeah.
it will be because
Yeah.
I think those two always work together. The Department of Public Safety over there, with Lori Diamond and the folks that do fire and EMS training.
Mhm.
I think you're going to combine these things, so it'll be between Sentinel and Vanguard. I don't want to speak for Greg, but I'm pretty sure that's how it's going to work.
Because I really.
It would make
opens up
sense.
Both of them to that, because, you know, Vanguard's more, you know, it's a Dundee County
Mhm.
area, and then Sentinel will be the Seneca County, so I think it'd be great if both of them offered the.
And when
There's
we-
a few other JVSs around the state that have started doing this down by Lima. Is that Apollo? I don't remember. But there's a lot of different JVSs. One, Penna, up by Toledo, they do the same thing. They cultivate EMS and fire recruits out of that, which works really well. And it gets the kids started young and then brings them up through the education process while they're juniors and seniors.
And then there's a reciprocating, there's an arrangement with Tara that if students want to leave Sentinel Vanguard and go into healthcare of any, they have a variety of programs there, credit certificates, transfer, and it's just really a neat program that we're glad as a county to be, to get behind and help sponsor. Commissioner Kirschner, when we talk buildings and grounds, there will be, and we'll talk about this later, but I think there is going to be a request from Sentinel Vanguard for a one-time sum of money to help them retool their facilities to handle this program. But they will buy all the equipment and take care of the program itself, marketing the program, but they've asked us to consider a one-time, and I would put that on the agenda to discuss CARES money that we could put towards helping jumpstart this program and be eligible to everybody in the county, all the students in the county. So that'll be on the agenda when we get to that, and I'm waiting for Greg to get us a little more information. Okay, so that concludes Commissioner Administrative reports. I have no old business. Do we have any old business? We'll move into new business.
Okay, I have a couple requests. I have a supplemental appropriation. This is for the airport runway lighting engineering service, $90,650 into our airport capital projects line. I have a supplemental appropriation into for the recorder's office. During the budgets, the workers' comp line just got missed, so he needs an additional $176.75 in his workers' comp line. And I have a supplemental appropriation of $196,000. This is for regional planning for the Opportunity Park Grant for 2022. And then I have a resolution authorizing fund transfer be made to the Soil and Water Fund. They manage our floodplain, and every year we move $10,000 for their floodplain administration to Soil and Water, so that's what we're moving. I also have a resolution for fund transfer to be made to Soil and Water. Our general fund contribution, $160,000 from general fund to the Soil and Water Fund. I have a resolution entering into contract with the Mental Health and Recovery Services Board on behalf of the Seneca County Sheriff's Department effective January 1st, 2022. This is obviously with Mental Health and Recovery Services Board. Looks like assisting persons to receive mental health services in a county jail obtained, so it's a grant. And then I have a resolution authorizing the agreement between the City of Findlay and the Seneca County Sheriff's Department. I think the City of Findlay has reached out to the sheriff to offer services, prisoner services, because they have limited space over there, so.
Yeah, good job with the sheriff.
And that's all I have.
Yeah.
Bring 'em over.
Uh,
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the new business supplemental appropriations and resolutions as presented.
And I'll second that. Any
Just a little discussion.
discussion? Yeah.
Commissioner Paradiso.
Yeah, exactly. You're up.
I'm very proud, and I think that voters make a wise decision with all our elected officials. We really got quite a good crew of folks. But I want to give kudos in this case to Mike Dell. You know, it's been, I'm in my 8th year. I have virtually never had a problem that's been brought before the commissioners for his office. You know, the employment stabilization is pretty doggone good there over the years. And he just runs a heck of an office. And I think that
He does.
I heard that we had to do something here for workers' comp that was probably missed somehow, but that's kind of a quirky thing. But you hardly ever hear Mike need any supplemental money. I have not in 8 years had a complaint about the recorder's office, and I just want to offer my thanks to Mike for doing a great job.
Yeah, compliment well deserved. Thank you. Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Schuff,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso.
Yes. So, Jimmy, this is the time we go to public comment. Before we open it up to the airways, anyone here like to, Ben, come on up. Were you here in 2008 when that capital policy was approved?
I was.
Okay, so the world's changed since you were here.
It has. Heavens.
It's been 12, it's been 14 years. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Good morning, commissioners. My name is Ben Nutter. I work for Wind Waste Innovations, and we own the Sunny Farms landfill out in Fostoria. And I come to you on behalf of the 60-plus hardworking employees right here in our local community, working every day through the cold. And it's been very cold.
Especially up on top of it.
Yeah, like, yesterday was cold ambient temperature, but today is even colder because there's a little bit of breeze with that cold air. You can imagine those men and women are really working hard. These are people that are right here in our community. And if you include contractors, we typically have 100 people working on that site every day, which is very important to Seneca County and the surrounding area. I'd like to report to you that we sent and the Ottawa Seneca Sandusky Solid Waste District received over $70,000 January from us as part of our agreement with the OSS to make sure that we maintain a level of funding. We guaranteed the OSS a level of funding in an agreement to settle a dispute from prior ownership between construction demolition debris and municipal
Right.
solid waste and all of that, things that were not productive for anyone. And, Wind Waste Innovation said, hey, we're just gonna, we'll guarantee that, and that check was delivered, and I spoke to the executive director this morning, Gary, and they have that, so that's good news for the commissioners and the solid waste district. And that's a very important program, because they have, one of their main initiatives is the Aim to Be Green program, which it's recycling, and that speaks to the Wind Waste Innovations commitment to long-term sustainability. And as part of that, Gary and I are finalizing an agreement for us to provide the funding, us being Wind Waste Innovations, to the city of Fostoria to put in some containers so that they can do recycling right there in the city of Fostoria, and that's really expanding that program.
So the
Which
township.
yeah, that's really,
Yeah.
and Loudon Township has that as well, but
Yeah.
we're going to specifically do it in Fostoria because
It's nice.
it hasn't been done, and that is really expanding that Aim to Be Green program, and that was Gary's idea, and we were happy to provide the funding to do that, and that will be, again, speaking to the long-term sustainability of our, performance for the planet. That really dovetails in there well. So that's really my report from Wind Waste Innovations. Certainly answer any questions, but I would also like to, as a citizen of, I live right here in Seneca County, as you know, former county commissioner and firefighter, proud firefighter for the city of Tiffin. I worked with Ken for many, many years. He does an excellent job. I was not allowed to vote for him to be our EMS director, as that would have been a conflict, but I'm proud to have had a small part in that, and he does an excellent job. I would tell you that, as it relates to emergency medical services, EMS, there's a nexus between level of care and time for us to get there, to get them that level of care. So simple illustration is, if we had a level 1 trauma center in the four corners of Seneca County, our rate of survival would increase dramatically because the time between getting to that person and getting, now, I don't know what level 1 trauma center hospitals cost, but it's billions, right? So we can't do that, right? But what we can do is be very, very creative and get people that are in need the level of care as high as possible so that that person can be stabilized and the outcomes then are better. So it really comes down to, as Stacy will tell you, when I was a commissioner, I was very, very in tune to the numbers. I was always talking about the number. I mean, in my opinion, most things come down to math, right? So we have empirical evidence that the quicker we get high level of emergency care to critical patients, the better the outcomes by percentage, right? So this plan, in my opinion, as private citizen, is exactly the way that rural communities should handle it. Because I can tell you that we own a landfill, Wind Waste Innovations owns a landfill in Taylor County, Georgia, and we had an employee that suffered a CVA, which is a cardiovascular accident, so commonly referred to as a stroke. They noticed something was wrong with him. They called the EMS, and this is a very rural area. It took a half an hour to get the ground transport people there. And unfortunately, the outcome was as bad as it could be, as you can imagine. So, as a citizen, I want our employees protected. As a senior manager for Wind Waste Innovations, this is the way to do it. And I applaud the commissioners for supporting this program and educating the public on how they do that. And you have my full support. Happy to help any way I can, as you work towards getting that levy.
Thank you.
And I appreciate it. You're very welcome. Any questions for me?
And I'll give you a kudo back. Commissioner Kirshner, you're on there. We have a solid waste meeting next Wednesday And so thanks for giving us the tip. You took
Yeah.
Gary's thunder away.
Yeah.
Normally
Well,
when we
I-
start the meeting,
Yeah, right.
big smiles, and we just received 70,000.
Yeah,
we didn't
don't
know
tell him
about,
you heard it
but,
from me.
we now know about it. But you know, the people that live over there in the Fostoria and the landfill area, it's been tough, and I just want to give you a lot of credit in your company for just being transparent, being out in front of it, and just doing what you said you were going to do, unlike the prior group. And so that's on your end, and then I think it's just the solid waste district is really, Commissioner Kirsten, you might want to comment on this because you were through this, but I think we've got a great director who gets it, and he's got the budget turned around, and the citizens of the county will start to see grant monies available for things like recycled park benches and tables, and there's a variety of those kind of things that will come back in addition to saving the planet with good recycling. But I think our director over there really gets it, doing a good job. And I don't, Mike, you want to make any comments on that? Because I know that was a big deal for
Just a
you.
general comment.
You know.
First of all, to Mr. Nutter, thank you for your comments regarding EMS. I know it's an ongoing issue, and
Sure.
you guys had some discussions about it back in the day. And hopefully we can get this thing resolved. Commissioner Paradis and Commissioner Shuffle working very hard on this. But as a general comment regarding Gary Beatty, it's kind of something I said about, about Mike Dell. If you get the right butt in the right seat, it makes life a whole lot easier, right? And in this case, I think the board of OSS did a real nice job getting Mr. Beatty on board, and life is a lot simpler for all of us. But that holds true virtually in every office across the county and anywhere else you look. If the right person is there that does a good job, it makes everybody's life easier who has to be part of that. So that's my comment.
And I also would add, I forgot, we instituted a program in the Loudon Township area where residents can register with Wind Waste Innovations and Sunny Farms, and they can free drop off, household waste. They just have to go to our website, fill out an application, and they're automatically approved with proof of residency. So as a way to give back to our landfill neighbors. So that's
Nice.
been a nice program as well.
Okay, thanks.
All right, thank you all.
Anyone else?
Thanks, Ben.
You good with your announcement? Bill and Adam are here, so we'll give you each an opportunity to make a comment, declare your candidacy, kind of a thing. So Adam Smith, go first.
Yes, thank you. My name is Adam Smith from Carmody, Cameron Falls, here live in Clinton Township, and born and raised in Eden Township, and I'm looking forward to running for the Republican seat here this May in the primary. So thanks for having me
Well,
here today.
thanks for coming. Mr. Frankert.
Thank you, Tony and Tyler. Thanks for the opportunity. I'm Bill Frankert, lifelong resident of Seneca County, currently an Adams Township trustee. Live in Adams Township with my wife and 2 children at home, and we have 1 out of the nest. And my experience that I've served on Seneca County Soil Water Conservation Board along with Seneca County Regional Planning, and my experience as a township trustee, along with serving on the broadband steering committee along with the EMS committee. I believe that I will bring a lot to the table for the commissioner seat. So thank you, everyone, and
Good.
look forward to
I
working
wish
with
you
everybody down the road.
both the best as you're out there in the campaign trail. Thanks for coming. Jimmy?
Yeah, if there's anybody online joining us via Zoom.
Fairmonts, maybe?
Yeah, if there's anybody on Zoom here, if you want to come forward, you can press *6 if you're on the phone line, or hit the unmute button and come forward now. I don't see anything in the chat at this point. I think we're good to go.
Okay, so with no further comment, I'm ready for this.
Motion
Meeting
adjourned.
adjourned.